Going back to our top story, the presidency has expressed shock at the untimely death of Minister Collins Chabane. Chabane was killed in an accident just after 1 this morning on the N1 between Mokopane and Polokwane. Let's hear now from presidency spokesperson Maharaj. Mr. Maharaj, thank you so much for joining us. Minister Chabane has been described by your colleagues as an all-rounder. What sort of role has he played within the ANC?
Minister Collins Chabane has an illustrious career in the struggle against apartheid, as well as in the building of the democratic South Africa. He became active in the 70s while still a high school student and at university. He subsequently left the country in 1980, joined the ANC underground, went off for military training, and then re-entered the country clandestinely to operate underground. He was arrested. He has served something like 6 years in Robben Island prison. After prison, he became active after the unbanning of the ANC and the release of Mandela, he became active in re-establishing the ANC. He was involved in the negotiations. He was elected to Parliament. In Parliament, he served in the management committee that supervised the negotiations for the final constitution between 1994 and 1996. There he also served in parliamentary portfolio committees. Subsequently, he became an MEC in Limpopo province. His final portfolio there was with regard to setting up of the roads agency in Limpopo. After Limpopo province, he was appointed by President Zuma in the 4th administration. He was charged with creating an entirely new department, the Performance Monitoring and Evaluation Department in the presidency. He did this in record time and with great efficiency, and it has been a crucial instrument in developing government's capacity both to monitor, evaluate, and ensure proper delivery and ensure that departments function at their optimum. In the final administration, in the 5th administration, President Zuma has appointed him to be in charge of public service and administration, which is undergoing tremendous changes and new rules to ensure accountability in the public service, to ensure transparent and open government. And Collins Chabane, therefore, has been at the front line of every aspect of our struggle, from the struggle for freedom and against apartheid to the struggle for the reconstruction of our country in the context of nation building and reconstruction.
Minister Chabane did a tremendous amount of work and he was dedicated. What sort of legacy do you think he's leaving behind?
Collins Chabane had a great zest for life. Besides his commitment to liberation, he loved people. He lived with the community. He struggled for the community. In prison, he committed himself to studying and he acquired a diploma in electrical engineering. He went on to study aviation. He developed his love for music. He studied musical theory. He was taught to play the harmonica by Bafana Sithole. And after prison, he has been involved in setting up a cultural group playing marimba music. I think the group is called Movement. So Collins is an all-rounder, a person who loves life, who lived life to the full, and we should be remembering him for being that all-round human being. The human being that should be a caring servant of the people and one who commits himself to the public service to the utmost degree of his capacity. I am not surprised that he was on the road in the early hours of this morning. Sometimes I wonder when colleagues like Collins Chabane have time to sleep, because they spend every waking moment of their lives in service.
We also understand that he played a huge role in organizing Tata Madibas Funeral. What sort of personal memories can you share there?
Again, Minister Chabane was the chair of the Interministerial Committee in charge of state funerals, and the result was that the funeral of Dr. Nelson Mandela was entrusted to his leadership. It was an event, I think, one of the largest that has been seen around any funeral. It was carried out with great competence, and I think much credit goes to Collins Chabane. Took care of all the protocol issues, took care of the logistics, and ensured that everybody came out of it feeling that they had been part of the process of living the life of Mandela, and therefore part of the process carrying the responsibility to bear the legacy of Madiba in our lives.
And Mr. Maharaj, lastly, what sort of personal memories will you have in your mind of Minister Chabane?
A very simple one beyond what I've said. A cadre of the struggle who never hesitated to carry out any task entrusted to him by the movement. If the moment demanded a task to be performed and the organization asked him to do it, he never hesitated. He gave his fullest and everything of himself to that task. That's how I would like to remember him, because I think that in remembering him that way, we will be setting up a standard for all of us to live up to.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was Presidency spokesperson Maharaj.